morning. Today is September 30, Monday 2024, the last day in the month of September. My name is Winifred Ubebo, your host on the program Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on leadership television. On this first segment of the show, we look at front headline stories on some select newspapers, including Nigeria's influential leadership. We go with leadership. Let's see the leading stories on today's edition. October 1 protest, hold dialogue with protesters now, CSOs tell Tinubu. October 1 protest, hold dialogue with protesters now, civil society organizations, CSOs tell Tinubu. Varsity students oppose plan, police are sure of adequate security. Federal government distributes 64 CNG buses to workers, students, and we have the picture of the commemoration of October Day, 64 years night of Nigeria's anniversary. We have the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu, joins former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, and other national leaders and clerics in courting the 64th Nigeria's Independence Day cake after a Thanksgiving service in Abuja yesterday. Of course, the celebration has begun, although low-key, as pointed at by President Bola Tinubu. October 1 protest, hold dialogue with protesters now, CSOs tell Tinubu. Varsity students oppose plan, police are sure of adequate security as federal government distributes 64 CNG buses to workers, students. Main leading story on leadership. There are other stories as well gracing the cover of today's edition of the paper. And in a developing story, Bobrisky threatens to sue Very Dark Man for 1 billion naira damages. Bobrisky threatens to sue Very Dark Man for 1 billion naira damages. The story runs on page 7 of Leadership. Blank laws can sustain local government autonomy, Ndume, referring to the Supreme Court verdict on local government being given their money directly to operate as the third tier of government. Blank laws can sustain local government autonomy, Ndume. 1 million naira extortion, policemen no faith today. 20.5 million die of heart diseases annually. Nigeria joined the rest of the world to celebrate Heart Day yesterday. And in the following developing story, 20.5 million Nigerians die of heart diseases annually. That's quite a large number. Now, going ahead to the masthead, we have Stop Northern Women from Participating in Terrorism. Stop Northern Women from Participating in Terrorism. This is a story that runs on page 7 of Leadership. Is coming from a security expert, Dr. Abdullahi Mohammed Jabi, who is the Director of Media and Publicity, International Institute of Professional Security, IIPS. Stop Northern Women from Participating in Terrorism. We move above to the business boss, where we have Port Harcourt Refinery defies deadline. Experts arrive from Italy. Port Harcourt Refinery defies deadline. Experts arrive from Italy. That takes us to the stories above the masthead. Lawyers unveil AI tools for legal practice. Ways and Means provide actual figures. Experts tell Fed CBN. Ways and Means provide actual figures. Experts tell CBN. From that, we move to the page 3, where we have our stand. Today's stand is on Nigeria's call for UN reform at UNGA, that is United Nations General Assembly. Nigeria's call for UN reform at United Nations General Assembly, otherwise the acronym UNGA. From our stand, we move to the back page, where we have Monday column with Dakuku Peter side, and he's writing on cabinet revision, realism versus expectations. In quote, this economic turmoil coupled with persistently high unemployment rates of over 33% is fostering a growing sense of economic despair across the nation. That is a snippet from that back page column today. Cabinet revision, realism versus expectations. For more and continuation of inside stories, The editorial has stand and the front headline stories. Log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we move over to Daily Sun. Daily Sun has similar story from as the main headline story. Is still on October 1 planned or scheduled protest. October 1 protest organizers defiant, police keep silent. October 1 protest organizers defiant, police keep silent. We are not aware of any strike, Labour. We also have picture of the Thanksgiving commemoration service for Nigeria's anniversary in the cover of Daily Sun. Beneath that, governors recommit to addressing gender-based violence, women representation. Electoral offences, obey court judgment or face contempt charge, Serap tells INEC chair. 40% Nigerians now enjoy 20 hours power supply, claims federal government. NDLEA cracks down on drug kingpins, ex-convicts, auto pass dealer. And just beneath the masthead of Daily Sun, Southeast, South lawmakers push for new states. Senators unite against governors on local government autonomy. And beside the masthead of Daily Sun, I won't give my kidney or liver to remain governor, Fubara declares. That concludes review of front headline stories today on Daily Sun. For more, log on to www.thesun.ng. From Daily Sun, we move over to Vanguard. Same similar story on the scheduled October 1 protest. And it says, October 1, police deploy in states as organizers insist on protest. Police deploy in states as organizers insist on protest. And the kickers, government failed to address protesters' demands, Deji Adeyanju. Hopes more detained protesters will be released today. Refrain from any acts of violence, federal government. Give federal government more time to fix economy, Kogi police. Restriction of protest to 2 designated venues still stands, Lagos state government. CP Lagos meets organizers assures on security professionalism. Jigawa police deployment today. Now State varsity students don't join any protest. These are kickers to the main headline story on Vanguard. October 1, police deploy in states as organizers insist on protest. The same leading story on Nigeria's influential newspaper Leadership and Daily Sun. Their story today is on the intended protest for tomorrow, October 1. Labour accuses IOC's money agents of exploiting port workers. Cement demand soars amidst price hikes, declining purchasing power. Cement demand soars amidst high price hikes, declining purchasing power. Key players record 76.6% rise in revenue. Sales volume rises expected to reach 32.8 MMT by year end. We effectively navigated headwinds, Dangote CEO. Will continue to grow despite low purchasing power, Lafarge CEO. Growth driven by federal government capex, analysts. Investors swap on companies' shares. These are kickers to the second headline story on Vanguard. Cement demand soars amidst price hikes, declining purchasing power. Up to INEC chair, obey judgment on electoral offences. Or you'll find out when you log on to Vanguard later. But however, let's continue. Nigeria could end insecurity in 1 year if, says Indument. That if you have to find out more on the paper. And in sports, Rivers United 2-0 to Enyimba NPFL. Finidi, Rivers United overpower Enyimba. That takes us to the stories about the masthead of Vanguard. Federal government hands over 64 CNG buses to labor unions. NAS. MPOS, WHO reports 6,603 cases, 32 deaths in Africa. The Prime Minister says over 40% of Nigerians now enjoy 20 hours of electricity. With that, we conclude review of front headline stories today on Vanguard. For more, log on to www.vanguardngr.com. From Vanguard, we move to The Guardian. Guardian is next on our menu. The Guardian says only 7 out of 7 of 20 subsidiaries viable as NNPCL battles 22 trillion naira debt. Only 7 of 20 subsidiaries viable as NNPCL battles 22 trillion naira debt. And the illustration beneath the main headline story says NNPCL's financial burden and unprofitable businesses. We have key subsidiaries with major debts. Port Harcourt Refinery has 1.97 trillion naira debt. Kaduna Refinery 1.36 trillion naira debt. NNPC Gas Infrastructure 1.86 trillion. Warri Refinery 1.17 trillion naira debt. Another that we have debt growth between 2022 to 2023 increased from 18.4 trillion naira in 2022 to 22 trillion naira in 2023. We have outstanding crude-backed loans. We have Project Gazelle, $3 billion. Project Brogue, $81.7 million. $2 billion expected to be borrowed. Debt to PMS traders, $6.8 billion. 53.33 billion naira for oil exploration, Maiduguri and Nasarawa. 53.33 billion naira for oil exploration in Maiduguri and Nasarawa. And we have decommissioning cost, 466.7 billion naira for 2003 oil wells over the next 40 years. These are illustrations that captures that leading story today on The Guardian. Only 7 of 20 subsidiaries viable as NNPCL battles 22 trillion naira debt, and the illustration captured the debt in detail. Benin that Obaseki Shaibu bicker over alleged plot to invade government house. PDP crisis deepens as North Central Caucus insists on replacing Damagum. Afenifere disapproves federal government's proposed NIGEC. 96% of SMEs struggling under inflation control policies. Economists warn. Anxiety as Tinubu's government braces for second mass protest in 2 months. Federal government okays 350 billion naira to tackle flooding. Serap Action Aid demand INEC's prosecution of bribery offences against governors, deputies. With that, we conclude review of The Guardian front headline stories today. For more, log on to www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian, we move over to the last paper we have on our menu, and that is our sister publication on the stable of leadership newspaper, and that is National Economy. National Economy is a weekly business paper, and it chronicles business stories, especially exclusive ones. Today's main headline story says foreign ship owners dominance on freight trade. Nigeria loses $86 billion annually as indigenous capacity dwindles. Foreign ship owners dominance on freight trade. Nigeria loses $86 billion annually as indigenous capacity dwindles. And beneath that, we have the riders. Despite generating 70% of total cargo in West Central African regions, lack of government support is killing our business ship owners. These are the kickers to the headline this week. The imperative to reset Nigeria's course of governance, that runs on page 12 of National Economy. The imperative to reset Nigeria's course of governance. That takes us to the stories above the masthead of National Economy. Nigeria's approved loan apps rise to 320 amid demand. Only 26% of Nigerian workers have pension health insurance, NBS. Only 26% of Nigerian workers have pension health insurance, NBS. That concludes the review of front headline stories on this week's National Economy. For more, log on to the website www.nationaleconomy.com. With that, also, we conclude the first half of this program, Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, second half is coming shortly with our guest in the studio. Stay tuned. back. The program is Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugobo, your host on the program. And of course, as you can see, I have my model guest in the house. He has PhD in political economics. He's also a public affairs analyst. Ali Elias, thank you so much. It's
Thank
always
you
a
for
pleasure.
thank you for having me. Good morning to you.
Yes, the trending story today is on the issue of the planned scheduled strike or intending strike taking place to commemorate Nigeria's 64th year anniversary, and of course the hashtag End Bad Governance protest, which is scheduled to complain about the hunger and the hardship in the land. What is happening? Leadership says hold dialogue with protesters. Now CSOs tell Tinubu. Apart from police, we have seen cases that police is intimidating the so-called protesters. Is that the way to go about it?
Very sad. As we are looking at 64
Mm.
years tomorrow,
Yes.
it appears Nigeria is living. Nigeria, the best of Nigeria is in the past.
Yes.
You know
Yeah, and
what?
it's not supposed to be.
It's so a big apology because we expect something meaningful with
Mm.
progresses. Democracy is now 25 years.
5 years.
We expect a better style and better understanding. But for the protest, the best of protest is not announced. That's my own belief. However,
Mm.
if you notice, the protests have been silent since
Mm.
2 weeks or so, and police too have been silent. So
Mm.
that could
But there
be
was a time police was inviting them, and they
right.
said they were not coming.
No,
Coming.
no,
That police can have meeting with them via Zoom or
right, which is
because they know that
no
when they go
police.
there,
In fact, they still charge
they,
one person among them.
yes,
Was it last day before
it's
yesterday
the
again to make them
mm,
11?
mm.
And Showore, in his confidence, also came down from
And
US.
it was also picked to
Yes, and it was quick
arrested,
and it was, the fact
arrested,
remains
released.
that protest has never been a bad thing.
Mm.
It's only the way police handle it. We recall this very
Mm.
government, people in government
Yes,
protested, and
yes.
they are well managed. They, guys, so they should also
Mm.
allow others to actually speak. So
So,
for me, I think protest is never a bad thing. It's just to put the government on their toes to do the
yes.
right thing.
So going forward now, like you just mentioned, Nigeria is celebrating 64 years of its independence from the imperialists. So, in your view, and this also October 1st is about 1.5 year of this present administration. So, in your view, what would you say as what progress has been made or what gain has been made so far?
Well, like I said in my opening statement,
You
that
said the best
our
years are in
best
the
are in the
past.
past
Past.
because when new government come like this, we expect an improvement from the past. But if you
Mm,
look at it, our economy is worsening. Our life betterment has been reduced. We
mm,
don't even know what happened next. So for me, I think this government, we have hope that they will do something better. But the
mm,
way it is going, 1.5 years from 4 years, it's a good sign that we may find it difficult to really get better in this administration. But for 64th anniversary, I think it's a good one for us. At
mm.
least we are progressing in age. If at all we are not
Then
progressing
in
in development,
development.
so we are progressing in age. Because if you
Okay.
look at our people that we got this independence together at the same time, Brazil,
Mm,
Malaysia. You see, even look at Ghana, close to
mm,
us. Ghana is doing 6.9 GDP, and
mm.
Nigeria is struggling to even do 2.93 percent GDP. It's a big issue. So I
It
think we
is.
need to rethink and look at a better, chart a better way forward for Nigeria.
Alright, thank you so much. Now, moving ahead, still on leadership today, refinery defies deadline. Port Harcourt refinery defies deadline. Experts arrive from Italy. This is a marked deviation from what we're being fed since the inauguration of this present administration, when it was announced by President Bola Tinubu that by December, that was by December of 2023, refineries will be made to work so that at least it will reduce the fuel price that Nigerians are being made to pay for 1 complete of petrol. But however, that has not been the case. We've seen a situation whereby they keep shifting the goalposts from December, we were told by February, and we were told maybe somewhere along March or April. And that has not happened. Now, Nigerian leadership says experts arrive from Italy. What it means is that they have to seek for expertise, to get the refineries working again. Now, before you go there, the Guardian's main headline story also came out with the same issue of NNPC battling 22 trillion naira debt.
Right. I think it's quite a big apology. So, who have they been working with to bring the
Exactly.
it to?
We keep saying that Nigerians have good we have manpower, we have
We
manpower.
don't
What
even need to.
happens?
Sometimes you don't even need indigenous man, but this is a global product. So sometimes you could get anybody from anywhere. Just get it done. Nigeria, you don't want who is actually fixing the
But we
refinery,
were
but get
told
it
that
done.
about $1.7 billion were expended fixing
Exactly.
it. So
They've
what
expanded a
happened?
lot. The fact is that the promise was, the promise has been coming. Before Buhari went, Buhari said he spent a whopping
Yes,
sum of money on the refinery. We are hoping
refinery.
that, with that refinery, the refinery will come on board. Now, Tinubu came here and said he keep promising. Even National Assembly themselves promised Nigeria. But the
Promise
fact is that
Nigeria.
I've not seen an oversight from the National Assembly.
Same.
That we have gone there, this is status. Even NLC, NLC tell us that they are actually free enough. We are believing them because they are with the masses. Even the president that promised us over time. So now it's changing new dimension now. So the man from the consultant from Italy will now start all over and give us another
Exactly.
deadline. It's a big apology on
But
Nigerian
how
part.
come no, Nigerians are not held accountable for anything?
That is the problem because, but let's blame the president because the buck stop on his table. I expect him to have said somebody to go.
How
If
supposed
you
to
cannot,
go?
because you
Exactly.
keep paying these people salaries, allowances, and
Yes,
all.
over
So
the years that the
if they are
primary is
not
not working.
performing, please let them go. And by the time you do that, the next person coming will make sure that they make. But I am thinking there's a conspiracy not to make the
If
NNPC
you work.
work because if it's, I mean, the
Yes.
refinery work, but if it's to work, I don't see it. If Dangote can build its own from scratch within those period, and we cannot just fix our own, and we have four. So please, are you saying that if one does not get fixed,
Please,
the
the
other
other
one cannot
one.
get fixed? So it's a big apology. And in terms of NNPC financial burden, I am thinking that our PIA, Petroleum Industry is Act, is just because it's just a nomenclature or just
It
a
is.
statement.
It is.
Because most advanced country that have fuel or petroleum product rather, do you know they don't have PIA and they're
And they're
performing well.
performing
So you
optimally
don't need
well.
to have a PIA. You just need to have a structure and a policy that will make things work. So for me, I don't think Tinubu government alongside his
Because
team are ready to solve
the
this
if
petroleum
the
problem.
administration were actually serious, at least in cushioning the hardship in the land, they would have gotten that Port Harcourt refinery
Work,
working.
and
At
that would
least
have
if
been
we
a
have supply,
competition.
exactly.
When we have
It should have
sufficient
brought at
supply,
least some price, the price of
not is
the
it only
product.
price, even the problem of forex,
Yes,
because the importation, the
yes,
forex take about 40% of our
yes. Why
importation,
is so much
and it brings
focus?
pressure on the naira, and
Yes.
naira has been devalued, and we don't have anything to even reckon with.
Just like what you pointed out, maybe there's a
Conspiracy,
conspiracy
I'm
not
telling
to
you,
just
because
get it
that's what I'm
working
doing.
because
Because if there is no
you
conspiracy,
see,
a whole government,
yes,
democratically elected government
government.
cannot solve the problem of just one refinery and get it to work.
Right. Thank you. That is that. Of course, leadership also reported is a trending story, developing story. I must say over the since last week over the issue of Bobrisky leaked audio, which was also revealed or exposed by a very dark man, and the issue has been attracting a lot of controversy with the uh, Nigerian correctional uh,
Center.
centers actually suspending some of his senior officials over the allegation made by Bobrisky in the leaked audio that he actually sorted out some EFCC and prison staffs. Now, Bobrisky has threatened, I'm going to court to sue very dark man who was also uh, asked to report at EFCC headquarters. He actually did. Very
Even
dark
National
man went
Assembly is also expecting
expecting him. So, but what do you have to say about the case? Because Bobrisky is saying that his voice or his or her voice was AI generated.
That reminds me of the issue of the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, in the case of Yes Daddy. You
Yes.
recall there was an audio,
Yeah.
he denied,
Yeah.
denied, denied, we
Denied.
take them, we have not heard anything. That simply means it is actually true. So the fact means that, well, in as much as I'm not a fan of the Very Dark Man, but if you look at the story behind why he actually released
And
the
very dark
issue,
man also, also indicted
Femi
Reverend
Falana.
Sand.
But he later came and said he did not indict them.
So
He
that
only
he's saying that they
said
should defend themselves.
he's only said they
But
should
what do you
defend
have to
themselves.
say about the whole issue?
Well, if you look at the issue very well, Very Dark Man is not the one that's saying it. He actually played an audio. So all we need to do is that to prove that audio is correct or not. Because at the end of that audio, he even mentioned the number of Bobrisky. And the person had actually released the audio to Very Dark Man is someone who borrowed Bobrisky money, 4 million naira, for him to settle some of those things. So the allegation may likely be true. But the fact is that I love the way they approach the correctional issues. If you look at that Minister of Interior, quickly they suspend those people
I
that
set up
a committee, but it may not be far from truth. You know what has been happening in Nigeria, where
yes,
people are
and you
supposed
know,
to go to
actually,
prison.
many people, Nigerians are why the Nigerians are buying into it is the fact that Bobrisky came out of the
Shining,
prison. Exactly, which was not
shining. I
supposed
went
to
to
be.
beach party, a lot of things, you know, and we're expecting correctional centers supposed to correct you and make you sober.
No, by the time knowing how Nigerian correctional centers are, by the time
Exactly.
it comes out, you'll be
It's not
looking.
well if it's the one that
His
we
beer
used
is
to go
going out,
exactly.
and not. But he was
So it
looking
was
robust,
looking
fresh, as if he just
exactly.
went
In
to.
fact, one of his is it Brown or one of them that cross dresser said he went to the prison. They didn't allow him to see Bobrisky. So a lot of conspiracy, a lot of theories. But I want the correctional center to really bring about the fact that that is not their practice. Because if that is their practice, that means most people that they jail will have issue. But the issue of dropping case, you know, even a lawyer on the street can drop a case for you. You could have 2 cases and they decide to drop one. So I don't think that's a very big issue. You could have 5 cases in the court and you tell the lawyer to appeal to judge to drop some. It's not a bad thing. So in the case of also Fali Falana that said the ex-convict, it is still something that is tenable. I don't know why they are arguing that
10 million naira.
I don't think that is a big deal to do because it is all about president. President can actually say you remove that from your name and it should be there. Perhaps some people go to prison for some cases that does not make them ex-convicts. It depends on the
And you know, with
level
what
of
is just transparent is what also follows what President Bola Tinubu said the other day, you know, giving directive that all civil servants that are outside the country working and yet are still drawing salaries, they should be terminated.
what
henceforth.
has
You know, that's
happened.
what has been happening in
It's
Nigeria.
and
A lot of
it still
so
continue. I can tell you most people are still like that.
Mm.
They're in abroad and their salaries they are sharing the salary with somebody in
yes,
house. But on this case, in the final, I think the problem is Bobrisky himself.
that couldn't keep
He
his
couldn't
mouth shut.
keep his mouth shut.
Exactly.
Must you say everything that happens? You know, even in marriage, there's some things you don't want to tell your spouse because you know when you tell your spouse, it's because it will be reoccurring in their memory that you won't tell me this.
It's just like somebody going to a Reverend Father to go and confess his sins. But at the end of the day, will that person trust you?
He don't trust you. So the thing is just tell God to forgive you.
All right, thank you so much. Moving ahead, just before we go, is also another story too that is also in some papers. The power minister said over 40% of Nigerians now enjoy 20 hours of electricity, even at what cost?
Well, Nigeria will be shocked if they are reshuffling ministers and they do not reshuffle the power minister. They will be shocked because they have not seen what actually do and he's not guided when he's talking. I don't know why because sometimes he said Nigeria are just wasting power. You go to Nigeria houses, you see them on the electricity. And I say, how can you justify that with supplying us effective electricity? And it's very, very expensive. I can tell you this morning I went to check my meter. Oh boy. I have to pay for band A office and home. You know, you have to be calculating and make sure that you manage very well. I tell you, it's quite. So for me, it's not Nigeria. I can tell you that Nigerians are not enjoying electricity. You can say band A people are enjoying electricity, not band B, C, and D.
All right, just before we go, Nigerians celebrated, joined the rest of the world to celebrate World Heart Day yesterday. And the paper said in some of the papers that 20.5 million die of heart diseases annually. And some of this number is from Nigeria.
If there is any sector we're supposed to develop very, very well, it should be our health sector because to school health and in any health is quite cheap in Nigeria, and we have produced international people that are working globally in terms of health-related issues. So I think Nigeria should have gone, and we have a minister now
heart diseases spike, few sudden deaths in Nigeria.
It's a big
diseases.
issue.
Perhaps also
This will be function of what we are also taking.
that's one, and
That's
also what
another thing.
Nigerians are going through. The fact that you are
The
thinking about
challenges,
the of hardship.
it's quite,
Yes, has a
it's a
way
big
of
issue.
and
I'm
October
telling you.
again we have a World Mental Health Day. You discover that the cases of those having mental issues,
Gobi,
depression.
there's always Yabalent. We
Yeah,
are always to say
like
it is clear that in fact there's a statistic that comes out that they receive more patients in Yaba psychiatric hospital beyond what they have been having before.
this
I'm telling you
present
this
time, yes,
period because
there
a
was
lot
this
of people are
report
having emotional,
issues.
issues
I've seen
and
cases from
and
people
it's
wanting
a
to
function
jump
of
into the
money.
lagoon.
When you don't have
It is.
money, it brings a lot of depression, a lot of issues to you.
All right, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program,
Thank you
Dr.
for having
Ali
me.
Elias. My viewers, this is where we end today's program inside Nigerian Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Gabo. It's good hosting you on the program daily. And don't forget to join us same time, same station for another fresh edition of the program tomorrow. Here's wishing you a beautiful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last